Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Today we're talking Starfield, and got a pretty good one for you, so sit back, grab your popcorn, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Topic of the day: would Starfield have gotten better reviews had it been made by a different developer? Bethesda's in a bad position of having expectations being so high that cannot be met. Managing expectations is the number one thing a good marketing department has to do. Let's assume that a new studio had put out Starfield. I suspect it would be talked about like a second coming, but because it was released by Bethesda, the expectations were so much higher that it was seen differently. Starfield is a good game. It's a very good game. It's just not the game people expected it to be. All right. Yeah, let's get into it because I like this one, man. I think this is a good subject. I think it's a good topic, and looking forward to talking about it. So I'll give my initial take, and then I'll get into the comment section because I'm assuming comments are going to be similar to my ideology, but we'll find out. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. So yes, in my opinion, Bethesda absolutely has higher expectations than your average mom and pop shop developer. I think if this thing's made by indie game developers, it is the second coming. I would agree with that. I also think that if it was made by Larian Studios or something like that just has super high praise and public love right now, I think it gets better marks. I think people put ultra unrealistic expectations on some of our large developers. They grew up with these childhood memories of these games that changed their life, like Skyrim for some. Fallout 4 for me was the one that really just changed gaming for me. Fallout 4 was the game that came out and I literally just couldn't enjoy other games anymore. And I miss playing Fallout 4 every time I'm playing different games. And the only thing that really cured that, by the way, it wasn't Red Dead Redemption 2, it wasn't Cyberpunk, it actually was Starfield, was the only game that actually came and replaced Fallout 4 for me. Because before that, every other game I'd play and enjoy, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy those games, but I'd always go back to Fallout. Every week, I'd be I need to play Fallout. I miss playing Fallout. Starfield's the first game that came along where I'm I have my Fallout 4 replacement. But at the same time, I can understand from communities that if you're not into the space thing or you've hyped yourself up, the Starfield is going to be something different than it was. There's a lot of disappointment there. Every title has to be a blockbuster from Bethesda. Every title has to be your next Skyrim or Fallout. And maybe one of those games is extremely important to you. And it's just a heavy burden of the developer to try to meet those expectations. And look, guys, I'm a creative person myself. I think I've said before, I'm a past developer. I'm a past graphic designer. I'm doing this channel. I think this is fun. Every video I make for you guys, I want to be the best video, but the reality is not every one I do is going to be better than the next one. My hope is always that's the case, but the reality is sometimes you just get in a creative vibe and you make something really cool, and then the next one you make just can't always hold up. Your hope is always that you'll make another one that's better next. I'm always hoping, if this one isn't it, maybe the next one will be better yet. I think the same is true with game development studios too. You're always trying to make the best thing you've ever made in your life. And I think that, the expectation is that everyone will always be better than the very next one. But there's so many elements to consider there, man. It's you're Bethesda, you've made Skyrim, you've made Fallout 4, you've made these just amazing games that people love. How do you make the next one even better? And then to mix it up even more, Bethesda throws in, let's do something that's different than our norm. Let's do, procedurally generated locations, 1,000 planets instead of a singular map that's dense with content. We're going to add new combat dynamics. We're going to add shipbuilding to it. In theory, all this stuff made me super stoked and is the reason I like Starfield more, to be honest. But at the same time, it's a very ambitious goal. And they've set the expectation this is going to be the coolest thing ever. When it's already against certain things, some people love those curated maps, a lot of their fan base does. A lot of those people like the fantasy setting, or they like the apocalyptic setting. So you're taking it into a new setting and you're expecting those audiences to fall in love with it all over again. And that's another piece that's just a huge element there. They've changed the formula. And when they change the formula, even though I think if you play it, you'll see why it's fucking amazing formula. But if you're a fan of that other formula, man, you got that to compete against too. So Bethesda not only has like these super uber high expectations they're competing against, they also have the fact that they've changed their formula completely in a lot of ways for this game, or added a lot of dynamics to this game that didn't exist, that you're also hoping the fan base will like. It's like Fallout 4 settlements had the same problem. Like Fallout 4, the settlement system in that game, people push back like crazy at first. I loved it, and I think the community has grown to love it over time. But at first, people were like, why do I have to spend time building a settlement? I just want to play RPG. I think it's bland to play without it anymore. Honestly, I miss it when I go back to Skyrim or Fallout 3 or things like that. I'm like, I want to build a home. It immerses me more in the world. But I also can see that people just aren't adept to change right away. And Starfield's kind of the same thing. I think if you play Starfield long enough, you realize it is a traditional Bethesda RPG in a lot of ways. It's just you got to go out and explore to find the content instead of it just being thrown in your face. But at a top level down, I understand that if you only play it 5 hours and be like, this doesn't feel like those games. I don't know if I like it as much. So that's my quick take on it. Is yes, I think the expectation is too high for Bethesda at times, but I also think that Bethesda tweaked the formula, which also made it harder on themselves. So let's get into the comment section and see what some other people have to say about this. One commenter said, I do think that being tied to Bethesda, Starfield certainly had some serious expectations placed on it, but I also think Bethesda wasn't honest about what the game actually was. Yeah, I tend to agree in some way that Bethesda kind of painted Starfield as it was going to be No Man's Sky with Bethesda elements. And really, it's kind of just something else. It's Bethesda with its own ideas of space travel and how you get around and things like that is just totally different than No Man's Sky. So I think things like, when you land on a planet and you're on a 5x5 tile, and if you get to the end of that tile, like you stop and you have to land on a new spot. Like I get why they did it. It's because like everything within that tile is generated when you land on that tile, and then anything in that tile is remembered forever. Like it's a really robust system, and it's really cool that you could drop like a helmet there and come back like 1,000 hours later and it's still sitting there waiting for you. But also like just set that expectation that you're not just gonna be able to like drive around the whole planet or fly around the whole planet like you can in No Man's Sky. I don't think it's a game breaking thing by any means. I don't think there's a ton of value of flying across an entire planet, by the way. In my opinion, from someone that really loves No Man's Sky too, you normally just kind of hang around the landing zone you landed in regardless. But I do think it's important that you kind of say those things out the gate so like your gaming community don't get in and immediately find things to poke at. Like you had to know that was coming. You had to know that was coming, Bethesda. So like, that could have been easily avoided by not advertising it that way in the first place. Another commenter said, I don't think so. I don't care who makes the games. The question is, how good is the game? I disagree. I think Starfield's a very good game. Starfield's in my top 5 games ever. Probably top 3, honestly. And I think that's important because I've been playing games for like 20 years. I've played hundreds of games. It's in my top 3. It's a good game. That's the bottom line. It's a good game. Like, it's the best space RPG game ever made. I'm going to say it right here. I get all this commentary on like, oh, well, No Man's Sky is a better space game. Well, Elite Dangerous is a better space game. And I talked about this in the last video, so I'm not going to get into it too much. Watch that one. I can put a link in the description if it helps. But, like, essentially, like, yeah, No Man's Sky does one thing pretty good. Exploration. Doesn't do anything as far as RPG. Elite Dangerous does one thing pretty good. Space exploration. Doesn't do anything as far as RPG. But I think Starfield is the best RPG ever made set in space. Tell me what you think in the comment section. That's my opinion. Another commenter said, not unless it was made by a lesser-known team. If CD Projekt Red made this, it would also be crucified. I agree, because CD Projekt Red also makes masterpieces, and the assumption is that every one of their next game is not only going to be a masterpiece, but a masterpiece above and beyond the masterpieces they've made before. Cyberpunk 2, The Witcher 4 have extreme expectations that they have to deliver on. Same with Rockstar. GTA 6 could never be good enough. That's the damn truth of it, too. It could never be good enough. The expectations are too high, and it's competing against a product, GTA 5, that's the biggest product in media history from a revenue perspective. Look it up. It's true. Bigger than any other movie or any other form of media ever. GTA 5 trumps everything by a mile. It's like, I think the biggest movie ever made like $2.5 billion, and like GTA 5 made like $10 billion or something. That stat's a year old, so it's probably it's even higher yet. So it's crazy, right? But the point being, like, GTA 6 has to compete with GTA 5, and it's going to be tough. I'm sure it's going to look prettier. I'm sure it's going to have a lot of new cool things introduced. But when you're competing masterpieces versus masterpieces, it's hard to be the best masterpiece you've ever made. That's just the reality of it. Another commenter said, the problem is the game failed to meet the standard set of previous titles. It was a step backwards in many ways. Followed by, it was a step backwards in two central ways, gameplay loop and world design. Compared to Fallout 4, it was a step forward in character creation, faction quest design, dialogue system, skill system, and non-urgent quest narrative structure. All right, I'm going to kind of comment to both of those at the same time. I don't think it's a step backwards at all. I think you guys are expecting it to be a step forward. And I don't know if it's a step forward. I think if I go play Skyrim or Fallout today, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, these quests are so much better than the Starfield quest. Like, they both have quests that are good. They both have quests that are meh. That's the thing when you have 200 quest lines in games. Some are great, some are fine, some are forgettable. And that's true with all these games. And that's fine. It makes it more realistic, honestly. I don't need every quest to be this epic fucking adventure. Like, sometimes it should be, go fetch my ball of cheese, please, thanks. And sometimes it needs to, like, go way deeper. When I find that ball of cheese, it unravels a fucking mystery, and it takes me in directions I never would have expected. And I go, holy shit, this is better than the main quest of the game. But I don't expect that in every quest. If that was in every quest, then they become predictable and they don't become as good. So I think, like, having some... it's a weird take, guys. I get it. But having some quests that are just kind of, they are what they are, like, mixed in with some epic things and some delves and adventures and things you wouldn't expect, like, I think that's what makes it more realistic. So don't dive into that too much. I'm not saying I want a bunch of crappy quests. I'm just saying, like, there's different levels of quests in every single one of those games. And I don't think Starfield must sit here and be like, yeah, no, Starfield doesn't have any good quests. Starfield is phenomenal quest. Like, some of my favorite quests I've ever played in Bethesda game are in Starfield. Now, if I had to go look at the collection of quests amongst all three of those games, I actually think I like Fallout 4 is the best. So I don't even agree with this comment here that, like, Fallout 4 was bad in some of those areas. I actually thought Fallout 4 had my favorite quest. Skyrim probably has my least favorite quest. Is it crazy? And it's just opinion. That's the thing. An opinion. It's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. But I'm going to say this, guys. It can't be objectively wrong either. Because I know people love to say, hey, my opinion isn't what agrees with your opinion, and my opinion's a fact. Your opinion is not a fact, guys. Just throwing that out there. Moving on. Another commenter said, Bethesda has a standard to uphold, and Starfield was half-baked and not meet those standards. There's no one else's fault. This is no one else's fault but their own. The customer has come to expect a certain quality based on the previous titles, and it's wrong to fault them for expecting the same quality. Yeah, once again, same thing though. Like, Starfield has more quality than those other games in a lot of way. Like, it's a lot more polished. The combat's a lot better. There's a lot of introduced systems, like shipbuilding that wasn't in the previous title, the ability to drive around a vehicle. There's all kinds of things in the game that are actually better than the other two titles. It's absolutely not half-baked. It's a beautiful, polished game in comparison to the other titles, and in comparison with most games, candidly. So I don't really know what that comment's coming from of half-baked. It's definitely not half-baked. I'll give you that you're talking about a very expansive universe, and it's not as deep as it could be at times. But I definitely don't think the game itself is half-baked. I think it just stands as a platform to have more content filled in over the next 10 years, and that's what Bethesda said. You have to launch the thing at some point, guys. I'm going to put that out there too. Like, I don't want to wait another 10 years for Starfield until 2033 and have even higher expectations yet, just because, like, the game isn't as deep as it could be yet. Give me the damn game and then keep giving me updates for the game. I've already been able to put 1,000 hours into the game as it stands. Give me an update now and give me another 1,000 hours of things to do. The other commenter said, I think if any other company made Starfield, the backlash would have been worse. I've never seen a fan base more accepting of low quality than Bethesda fans. It is literally a meme that they have to fix their own games. Bro, the meme is exactly my point, though. That, like, the reason a meme exists is because right now it's really popular internet culture to bash on this particular studio. And here's the funny thing, man. If you go look, they still have some of the most top-played games ever played. They still have massive audiences. They still have games like Fallout 4 that was a single-player game from 2014 that still has like 2 million concurrent players to this day. So, like, it's funny because, like, there's so much internet activity trying to beat down Bethesda, but the reality is there's still tons and tons and tons of gamers that love their games and are just ignoring all this bullshit, don't live on Reddit, don't watch a bunch of bullshit YouTube stuff, and just enjoy the games. And what's funny about it is because, like, everyone wants it to be dead so bad because they think that'd be funny, but it's just not. The modding community is super healthy still. They just surpassed to be, like, the number 10 top spot of all time in games, and that will continue to grow because they have a huge modding community. There's literally hundreds of thousands of mods being downloaded on a daily basis for Starfield. That wouldn't be supported by 2,000 players, guys. Like, and as far as fixing their own games, every developer has to fix shit. Coming from the world of development myself, everyone is fixing stuff. Everyone has patches. Everyone fixes bugs. Bethesda games, because they're so much more ambitious and wide and open, there is a much wider area where bugs could be found. Because you can do whatever you want, it's easier to find an area to tweak the game out than it would be if you're playing Hollow Knight Silksong, which is a side-scrolling game that can be much easier QA tested because it's much less robust. And as far as, like, oh my God, they broke Fallout, or they're going to break Starfield when the next update comes out. It's just stupid, guys. Like, I play Fallout every Friday night. I have Friday night Fallout, and my Fallout works fine. You guys are being super over dramatic about this shit. And as far as, like, the Bethesda fan base being accepting, you are on crack with that comment. Absolutely on crack with that comment. When Skyrim came out, people weren't happy with it. Said it wasn't as good as Morrowind or Oblivion. When Fallout 4 came out, like, people bitched it wasn't as good as New Vegas. And here we are again, guys. Like, you're so fucking wrong about this. It's ridiculous. The Bethesda fan base love those games to a T, but at the same time, they're also believers that being critical is how we grow games, and they are extremely critical. So I just don't agree with that comment. Another commenter said, Bethesda spent all their time making photorealistic chunks instead of writing compelling stories or characters. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Because there is some just beautiful food graphics in the game. I would just say we're talking about different departments, guys. There's over 500 people that work there. Somebody's job was to animate food. Didn't take away from other parts of the game. It was just someone's random job to do, and they did a randomly awesome job at it. Another commenter said, yeah, probably. If it wouldn't have been up against, that's why we don't have Elder Scrolls 6 anger or the wild expectations people set for themselves regarding things like exploration. The game would not have gotten as much hate, basically. Yeah, I agree. And I run into this all the time. Like, tell me in the comment section if this is you, because it's interesting. But I think that the fact that the Starfield had to go against Fallout and Elder Scrolls 6, like, is just huge. I can't believe, I didn't realize that until I started making these videos, like, how many people are just mad that they didn't get their game. So it actually has nothing to do with Starfield. A lot of times it has to do with, like, I'm a big fantasy player, and I love Skyrim, and I've been waiting forever for Skyrim, and they made a space saga, and I'm mad about it. Like, that, it's amazing. Or I want to play Fallout. I'm a big Fallout guy, and they've been spending time on this instead. This isn't my thing. I think it's a ton of the hate. I think a ton of the hate is PlayStation fans that got skunked on this short term, Nintendo fans that didn't play it, and just general Bethesda haters in general. But here's the funny thing, guys. Game still sold 10 million copies. Still extremely popular. Extreme financial success in general. And all your player count numbers, first of all, still a pretty thriving community, especially with this new Star Wars Genesis mod, which has boosted everything like crazy. But beyond that, you're talking about a single-player game. In general, people play single-player games until they're done playing single-player games, and they move on. It's not live service, and if you don't have updates coming for it, this is what happens. That's what's kind of the amazing thing about Bethesda titles in general, is the modding community keeps them alive for years and years and years to come, because you kind of have unlimited content. But at the end of the day, it's still a single-player game. Like, you're not going to see Fortnite numbers on the thing where it stays up on a daily basis, right? Another commenter said, absolutely not. That's pretty much an insult to both the fan base, audience, and critics. It's like complaining that the star student in class failed his examination when he was expected to get an A solely because he didn't have time to prepare for the test. Then when you ask him why, he says, I would have gotten an A if everyone didn't have such high expectations of me. That made the test harder. I think you're missing the plot that people would expect the star student to get an A, bro. When any other student could put out a B and everyone would be happy. You're expecting the star student to consistently get A's over and over again. That's not realistic. Think about that for a minute. And I think that's a good place to leave the video. If you guys have stuck around this long, holy shit, thank you. This has been a ride. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Appreciate you guys. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing and just have an awesome day, all right? Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day. Bye.